Maurice Cole, we're here in the shaping room at Uluwatu Villas, and we got 5 questions for you. The first question, let's talk about the most controversial subject in surfboards and custom surfboards. What is your volume?
My volume?
Yeah, what's your volume, Maurice?
My volume? It's coming down. It's coming down from 9 foot by 23 by 3 1/4, and I'm down to 8'3" by 22 1/2 by 3. And guess what? I have no idea what the volume actually is in litres.
Why do people get so hung up on volume, and what do you see wrong with them being hung up on it?
A lot of people just get stuck up on 26.8 or 26.6. There's a couple of percent margin of error, which means that in any one surfboard, it could be a little wider or narrower coming off the machine. And that means it could be anywhere up to half a litre to a litre out. So, you know, there was once upon a time, there was a guy who called me up and said, I want a 6'4", and I want it to be 44 litres. And he called me back the next day, and I said, okay, it's 6'4", it's 15 inches wide, and it's 7 inches thick. And that guy went, that's a bit narrow. And then he went, oh, fuck, you need a width. So the length and the width is so important before we speak about volume. And you know, one of the things with volume is I'm doing all my boards with beaks now, because the beaks put, say, in a 6.0 surfboard by a 19 by 2 1/2, a beak puts in an extra litre in the board, just up under the chest without touching the width, the rails, anything. By the time we get to a 9-footer, it's 6 litres. So, literage, it's just how you float in the water, yeah. But the dimensions are way more important, and length, width, give me a rough thickness and I'll work the rest out from there.
Maurice, I heard you throw out a number that people are always afraid of when we're talking dimensions. 3 inches thick. Let's talk about 3 inches thick and what it means to you.
It's a bit like 6 inches long. 3 inches, it depends now. Like, you surfed a board today of mine that was 3 1/4 thick. You went, how thin and foiled out did it be? The thickness is all in the center. So the whole idea is to put the thickness under your chest. Then I'll take the tail out, I'll foil the tail out till they're really thin, the nose, I'll lower the rail down, so this is 2 3/4, but the rail's actually 2 5/16 thick, okay? So 3, it's so funny how many people I've done 3 1/4 for, and I've written 2 7/8. Even to the point where I've written 2 15/16. For fuck's sake, get over yourself and just embrace 3, bro. 3. 3 is a magic number.
All right, Maurice, you're dialing in a custom for someone and you're working the dimensions. And so we're not really talking about volume right now. We're just talking about like width and thickness. And so what type of waves are you going wider on, and what type of waves are you not going wider and going thicker instead?
Well, you're probably average surfboard, so you know, if you're 80 kilos, depending on how young you are, I'm probably going to do anywhere from 18 3/4 to 19 inches wide. But if you go to a fish, a smaller board for smaller waves, I'll probably blow that out to 19 3/4, 20 inches wide, like a little reverse V red dingo, dirty dingo, or something like that. But if I went to a gum, I'm probably going to come in at the same width, but I'll probably put anything depending on how big, for how big the waves it is. If it's just a step up board, I'll probably go 1/4 inch thicker under the chest and just keep everything really foiled out. However, if we go up to the big rhino chasers, you know, I'll go out to 3 3/4, no problems, and then just foil the rails and everything out. So you've got the paddle in under your chest.
Let's talk about reverse V. Let's talk about reverse V. So seems like obviously you are into reverse V since you invented it. and then reinvented it. Now let's talk about the rest of the industry starting to re-embrace it and get on the bandwagon. What does reverse V have to do with the next few years and what people are going to do with it, and what's it going to bring to performance?
Okay, so everybody knows I've done the reverse V, which is basically a pretty big V, anything up to 1/2 inch under the chest, running out flat through the trail. That's the bottom shape, okay? But then I also went through the stage of very, very deep concaves, but they were limited in the fact that if wind got under them or you had to paddle in, it acted like a little bit of a parachute. It was actually working against you. So the last few years I've been combining back to the reverse V and putting quite a reasonable concave between the fins or in front of the fins. So what you're doing is when you're paddling in, the V gets rid of any air, any chop. As soon as you take off and put it on a rail, if you've got concave under your chest or under your front foot, you'll actually feel it's a little bit, I call it the handbrake effect. However, if you've got a reverse V, I've been doing this at Bells the last few years on really strong offshores. My boards with the big V's to the concave, it cuts through it like butter. It's easy to paddle in. Real Water Sports once did a review of how easy they are to paddle in, how easy they make lake drops. And now with the concave, it's like as soon as you get in and step back on the tail, it's like hitting the turbo, and the squirt you'll get off the bottom turn sets you up for the rest of the wave. So that's what I've been doing, is the reverse V to concaves now. And you know, I've said it a few times, I think if you've still got concave under your chest, you've got a 20-year-old design.
Maurice, let's talk about eco-friendly boards. So what do you think is the best solution for eco-friendly boards? Going with the latest tech of the year and bio this and bio that, or going with something that is proven and just building it a little bit stronger?
Well, the first law of environmental and sustainability is longevity. The first thing that I do is I'll put a bigger, thicker stringer. The stringers that I love best in the world are the upper core stringers, because Brad Applegate could tell you how much flex and how much torsion there was per square centimetre in the stringer. So we've done the stringer shit. So I love a nice strong spine, okay? The next thing is, as far as environmental, I hate the EPS, I think it's bullshit. I love my favourite foam in the world. Are you ready for this, Jeff? Is the US 2.0, the red, okay? The shit is so easy to shape, it's so light, it's so strong. He's just brought some new foams out. Put an apple core stringer in it, and if you have to, do some bio-epoxy. But the epoxy is so superior to polyester, even though it's harder to use. It's got better flex, it gets stronger over its lifetime, not like polyester, weaker. So for me, still, the ultimate surfboard would be a US blank red 2.0 with an apple core stringer, and either I think it's a 5/16 stringer, 5-ply, and then all the way to a 7-ply in a gun or triple stringer. And then if you really want to be bio, you use a bio epoxy. Even though when you talk bio epoxy in a board, the epoxy might be 36-38% bio, but still the catalyst that you use, for want of a better word, the catalyst is still pretty toxic. You know, so whichever you want to do is, but those boards will last longer than anything else, and all the other carbon and the APS and the stringless and everything like that, you probably don't surf real fucking waves when it comes to it. But where we come from and where all the boards that I've seen over the last 25 to 30 years, the ones who are all still in one piece, and that's in Hawaii, Australia, France, they all have thick stringers. A lot of them are PU epoxy. If not, they're glassed up a little bit stronger with wide laps. That's my take on longevity.
So Maurice, As a shaper, we were talking earlier, and you were talking about curves and beautiful curves and getting inspiration for the curves on your boards. Where do you get inspiration for the curves?
Oh, look, I'll get inspiration for curves on sci-fi movies. I love looking at all the different spacecraft and everything like that. But really, you know, like for a long period of my life, I lived opposite a French nude beach. Yeah? And my wife always used to say, the day that she saw me not looking at beautiful curves, there's certain curves that I really, really love, you know, and I'm not going to go into the detail. It's actually nothing sexual. It's just the appreciation from a very, I guess, an art point of view. Yeah, probably, yeah. Is that a bullshit artist? No. I think it's just some sort of pure art thing where I actually have beautiful French curves, there's curves, and of course, you know, as my wife used to say, if I didn't look at those curves, she'd be worried that I'd give up shaping. But she did make it very clear, no templates, please. No templates.